Welcome to your Monday. I'm J Cleveland Payne, aka your Mr. Monday, and this quick bit of motivation and inspiration was originally published on April 18th, 2022. The original message goes as follows. Beware of who you are making famous. The people you choose to follow and support should be gracious of your efforts, not so expectant that they take you for granted. So as you go deeper into this is one that's essentially a fresh and new idea, although it's not all that fresh and new, but it's fresh and new because of the way people and the way influencers and followers work on our modern social media. Anybody literally has a chance to be a famous person. It's no longer just a 15 minutes of fame. Anybody can get 15 minutes of fame, but that 15 minutes of fame can be a larger fame and can be expanded beyond 15 minutes fairly easily based on what you do or sometimes don't do to gain attention in the world and in the media. So in the world of influencers, the world of people that are basically living and dying by the followers, it's important to be choosy, a lot more choosy now than in the past of who you choose to follow and who you support with your time, your effort, your attention, your dollars, whatever. This is not just me saying this as a person who makes content on the internet and needs people to follow that content to basically get the bills paid. This is a sort of a larger thing, and that goes into the realm of people who literally are being influenced by folks, people who are literally being led by people who are leaders in some sense, people who are becoming famous or becoming powerful because of their support. This message boils over into everything from the people you follow from a spiritual level, from the politicians going forward. But we're going to kind of keep it simple in the explanation and keep it in the realm of influencers, the people in the media that literally need your followership to keep themselves relevant. Now, it's very important that you are a bit more frugal with your attention in the attention economy, who you give it to and why you give it to them, than just kind of giving it out willy-nilly. Back in the day, back before internets was a thing and the followership was essentially buying a copy of Tiger Beat to pay publishers who paid a little bit of money to the people who went into those magazines for the articles. Now that you can directly fund and directly support people, it's really, really important that you know who you're supporting and why you're supporting them and what they are all about. Too often we are finding the realm of people that are just sort of making their way into the world of self-help gurus, if you will, are not so much frauds, although some of them really are, but just regular people who found some niche and a way to market themselves as a little bit better than you, and enough people surrounding them, whether they are real or whether they are paid to pretend to be that way, as sycophants. So it seems like a lot of things are happening. Think about all the people who have fallen from grace in the last couple of years. People who have had these great rises in the ability to bring people in because they seem to be great people, great influencers with great ideas to give out to people, only to find at some point in time, their fame is starting to wane and then something really, really big happens and that just sort of blows it out of the water. Just because a person looks great in their Instagram doesn't mean they're actually as pure and honest as they say they are. And chances are they probably aren't pure and honest at all. There's probably a lot more going into their look than you think, a lot more filters, a lot more back end stuff, a lot more helpers, and a lot more support in the back end than you know. As a person who produces 5 different podcasts, although they're not very big every week, and been a daily video series on news broadcasts, there's a lot of work that goes into making those things. In fact, it's just as much work, maybe even more in some cases, than it was when I worked in radio news, producing news broadcasts every hour for a shift of 3 or 4 hours at a time, because I'm doing it all by myself. Technology makes it a little easier to get it done, but at the same time, I'm doing it all by myself. Plus, I'm adding video stuff. I'm adding different tags of things. I'm not the only person searching for news and writing things up. So I know what it takes to make a thing happen. And so when I watch other people do internet newscasts, I know what it takes to make those things happen. I know how many people behind the scenes it takes to make it from being a mediocre to being an okay to being an excellent looking broadcast. And I understand that. Some people will just simply kind of wave their hands and look at the shiny best thing and wonder why no one else can basically be that good. And the reason is the shiny best thing has a handful of people, an army of folks behind the scenes pressing different things, as opposed to the one guy doing his best to make it work because he has a vision to get to that point. So there are people out there who need your support in its early stages, and they're not all shiny and great and ready for prime time, but they need your support right now so that you can get to that point. Those folks, you also have to remember that they are brand new and they are fallible and they are human and they are just doing their best to get there. Everyone who gets a start will not get too close to a finish. Everyone who gets a start will not even make it halfway to the actual finish or whatever the finish is, success is. So every venture started doesn't necessarily mean every venture needs to be supported 100%. But there are people out there on the low end that need your help so they can get up to a better end. And there are people out there on the high end that, of course, need your help to stay up there. But as you get to know them and love them, or know, like, trust in the actual vernacular we use, you'll find out that there's still an act to it. There's still a shiny veneer to it. There still is the makeup that you put on when you go on TV, because it's a show. It's an act. It's not real life. You'll find that some of these people that have great lives, at least the stories they tell show great lives, don't actually live to what they're preaching and can't actually be as great as they are. And if you decide that's not what you want to follow, then choose not to follow. You are all the currency in the world for this attention economy. So make sure that you are spending that currency wisely and following people who actually support what you want to do, not just show a face that looks like that and are just taking your money in the back end. Also, make sure you keep an eye on people who are up and coming and people who are just branching out for the first time and seeing what they have to give, because they're not quite as ready and as shiny and as polished as the top guy. But you may find, because in the world of this personal development stuff, most of the words are all the same, so they may be saying the exact same thing, and because they're not at the top echelon level, may be a lot more accessible to you if you actually want to hear from them, and they may actually want to hear and talk to you. Be aware of who you're making famous. The people you choose to follow and support should be gracious for the effort, not so expectant that they take you for granted. This original message was published on April 18, 2022 from Welcome to Monday. For more messages like this one, plus books, merchandise, and other information related to this project, visit the website, welcometomonday.com.